Morning, it's Paul here, Bearded Badger Publishing and Books. Welcome to the Friday feature today. If you're not familiar with it, then it's basically me waffling on about books, which I kind of do every day anyway. I'll just do it in front of a camera on a Friday. So that's the concept, dead simple, bit like me, don't do complications. Anyway, let's crack on. First book, and you knew this was coming at some point. If you know me, you knew this was coming. Ta-da! It is Panenka by the wonderful Rónán Hession. Now, if you're not familiar with Rónán, and that's okay, you're missing out, but that's okay. Rónán was he wrote a book called Leonard and Hungry Paul, published a couple of years ago by Bluemoose Books. Fantastic book. I basically bored everyone to within an inch of their life telling them about that book for the past couple of years. So it's given me, this has given me a new lease of life to bore people to death about. Great book. It really is a great book. If you're not familiar with what a Panenka is, it's basically a type of penalty in football where you kind of wait for the goalie to move and then just chip it into the back of the net. It looks great when it goes right, dreadful when it goes wrong. I'll leave you to guess, but yeah, it goes pretty crap for Panenka. And it's basically about a guy named Joseph who attempts one of these kicks back in the day, goes wrong, so it kind of defines his life. He then becomes known as Panenka. Now, it's not a book about football, I've got to make that clear, it really isn't. It's a book about Joseph. He just happens to be an ex-footballer, and it's about how his life kind of post-football, he reconciles with his daughter, and you get to know a little bit about why they perhaps became estranged in the first place. As with Leonard and Hungry Paul, there's a real richness to the characters that as a reader you just can't help but warm to. And you do that in this. My particular favourite was a character called Baba, B-A-B-A, because he's got 2 degrees, and God does he let you know he's got 2 degrees, so B-A-B-A. But there's a whole host of wonderful characters in there, and I'm not going to give too much away. It's a very character-driven, very rich, very warm novel. Honestly, just take my word, go buy this book. It's 15 quid hardback, published by the superb Bluemoose Books. You're on a safe bet anyway with those guys. Never put anything bad out. Get on it. That's the first one. Next up is another press that I really, really like. This one is by Charco Press, who are a Scottish-based press who specialise in Latin American translations. This particular book, Havana Year Zero by Karla Suarez, translated by Christina, MacSweeney. What I love about Charco is, and a lot of the small independent presses that do translated text, so I'm looking at you, Tilted Axis, Charco Press, and Other Stories, Nordisk, Pirine, all these guys, the translator gets a real sort of a credit within the book, and I think that's really important. And the reason why I think that's important is translation in literature. For me, it's not just as simple as taking a bunch of words in one language and then putting them in another language. There's a whole host of nuances. There's a whole host of cultural differences. So this would have been written in Cuba back. So for this to translate then into somebody in England to be able to read it and get that same feel that the author wants, that's a skill. That's a real skill, and I think that's why I love what the independent presses that do a lot of the translated books do. So anyway, let's talk about this particular book, Havana Year Zero. Havana Year Zero is 1993. It's about it centres around, the central character is Julia, who is a lecturer or teacher, and it kind of centres around them looking for a document, with her ex-lover, an ex-lecturer, Euclid, I don't know if I pronounced that right, Euclid, that demonstrates that an Italian engineer at the time was living in Cuba and invented the telephone before, obviously, Graham Alexander Bell, who we all consider to have invented the telephone. Now, I googled this, and it's actually that bit is factual, and it centres around Julia and there's other characters. There's Angel, who's her current boyfriend. There's Leonardo, who's a writer, who's writing about Antonio Mucci. There's other characters, Barbara, Margarita, and all these. They all kind of want to get their hands on this document because they think it could be obviously quite valuable because it proves something. And they all think the others got it, and also it was like a Keystone Cop kind of detective, weird, but like no, it's not weird actually. It's just quite interesting how these lives intertwine, and everybody thinks, and Julia's in the middle of it obviously because she has a link to all these people. Again, I won't spoil how it all pans out, but it's definitely a great read. I thoroughly enjoyed that book, as I have many other Charco Press books before it. This one's $9.99, paperback, really good book. Get on that one, brilliant. Now, that's the two main books for this week. Like last week, I'm going to do a little feature on kids' books, and these ones actually are particular. How can I put it? They're close to my heart, I guess, in many ways, because they take me back to when I was a wee kid, and I used to absolutely love Mr. Benn on the telly. Now, if you're not familiar with Mr. Benn, he was this dude that used to go into a dressing up shop, go into the dressing room, and whatever costume he put on, he was transported to that world. I loved it because it was quite fantastical in that sense that it took you away, and it's brilliant. Anyway, these books are beautiful. I like this one with Mr. Benn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you look through, it is like it's got the Mr. Benn illustrations in there and the stories, and there he is looking. 50 years old. I mean, I'm giving my age away a bit there. I know you're probably thinking mid-30s or something, but maybe not. Anyway, those two books, they are $7.99 by Andersen Press. Really nice books. If you're of a certain generation, similar to me, then they'll be really nice books to read to younger people, because you'll be able to do it with a bit of nostalgia and a bit of, you get those rosy tinted specs on, and anyway, get on those. They're brilliant. So that's the books for this week. What else shall we talk about? Okay, so today on the publishing side of things, we have revealed the cover for the next novel that we're publishing in autumn, which is called Step Forward, Harry's Salt, by the equally wonderful Ross Lowe, a Derby. Well, he's from Derby anyway, but he's currently residing in Berlin, which I guess would be a nice place to be residing at any time of year, particularly after a certain football result earlier in the week. Anyway, it's a great book. It follows the fortunes of Harry Salt, who's this sort of hapless chap, rides around on a clapped out moped, set in Derbyshire, so that's, it's the finest country finest county in the country. And it just follows it. He has no idea that there's something about Harry. That becomes quite clear. He has no idea about this. The government want a piece of it. There's other things that go on. He has flashbacks to when he was younger, big black dogs barking, red eyes. Anyway, it's a real fantastical novel in that sense, but it's just such a good story. So anyway, the cover's out. Have a look at it, let me know what you think. I think it looks great. Massive thanks to Matt Oakley at Mojo Creative, who does a grand job with all of our covers, to be perfectly honest. He takes a scrambled brief from me and turns it into something that's quite spectacular, really. Lord knows how he does it, because, well, God knows. Anyway, so that's the cover. What else is going on at the minute? The shop's open till 5 today. We're open 10 till 5 tomorrow. We've got these lovely little postcards. I think I might have showed these before. If not, these are the Pride in Belper postcards. If you look closely, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but this is a collage of, they asked for some posts last year on social media, certain colours each day. They've done the same again this year. They made postcards from last year's. They're 50 pence a piece. Every penny of that 50p goes towards Pride in Belper, which is a group that put on events. I mean, not last year, before we did a Pride event in Belper. It was fantastic, big march, brilliant day out, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So great cause. I'll say 50 pence a piece. Every penny goes towards them. So if you are in the shop, please pick one of those up. I'll probably ask if you want one anyway, because that's kind of what I do. That's it, I think. So hopefully, let's just have a quick recap as you do. So we've got Panenka, Rónán Hession, Bluemoose, 15 quid. We've got Havana Year Zero, Karla Suarez, translated by Christina, MacSweeney. That is by Charco Press, 9.99. And then we've got the two Mr. Benn books. They're by Andersen Press, 7.99 a piece. So, yeah, that's the books for this week. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you, if I do see you, we accept all major credit cards, all major currencies. Come buy some books. Have a good weekend, folks. Take care.